Good day guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the final episode of this Norwich City rebuild, where I have been looking to establish Norwich as a Premier League staple, so to speak, stop them from yo-yoing, and things have gone pretty well. We haven't won any trophies besides the first season, but we have progressed quite well in the league, and now we're stepping into the realms of European football. So come on then, let's go and have a look and see what's been going on. So yeah, as you can see, we are on the 18th of August. I've not played any of the season yet. I will show you the fixtures quickly. Now the fixtures page has been fixed. I've got no European fixtures come through as yet because we go automatically straight into the competition. And no cup games have been drawn as yet either. So not basically started a fixture, but we have spent a lot of money. A hell of a lot of money, in fact. So before the tick over, the total that we spent was 122 million. Now, when you take off these three here, Nonto, Maza, and Huetlas, that is about 48 million pounds worth. Take that off there. We've definitely been spending. So let's start with Kent Sant'Angelo from Leeds.
I like it a lot.
Look at this guy. How good is this guy? Check this one out. He's an attacking midfielder slash striker, and personally I don't think he's an attacking midfielder at all. He is a striker. You just got to look at these numbers. 5-star potential ability, valued up to 32 million, which I think is an absolute bargain. And considering the fact I got him for, what was it, 8 million, that's an absolute steal. But again, I wanted to bolster our front line a little bit more, so Elias Anser, German attacking midfielder slash, or he can basically play up and down the wings, but he is a striker as well. Not the best finishing, it's his physicals that I liked a little bit more of, and I wanted to get the best out of having a, like, sort of a pressing forward. Even though the pressing forward thing's not in the game, I wanted somebody along those lines, and he definitely is that. With that sort of stamina and strength, he's going to bully players all over the place. And again, got him quite cheap for 15.5 million. That's pretty cheap for that sort of quality of player. Next, I brought in this gentleman here, Darren Hines, who is another central midfielder who will play in that defensive midfield spot from Brighton. Again, I can't believe Brighton wanted to let him go at 19 years old to be this good. The game's acting very strange. That's all I can say. That is all I can say. And then two more before we go back over this. In fact, actually, before I do, as you can see, we did lose a couple of players. Antti Chernak has gone to Brentford. He went for 20 million. A Young has gone. He's gone to Germany. He's gone for 47.5 million. So we actually doubled our money on him, which isn't too bad. And also, Jose Cordoba has left the club, and he went for 17.5 million to Sunderland. Back to who we brought in, because I have got an absolute doozy of a replacement for Cordoba, but Axel Tape, or I presume it's going to be pronounced Tape, from Bayer Leverkusen, French defender, comes in as a centre-back. I think he's one that's going to just basically fill in the squad gaps. He's basically a French Joe Gomez. That's how I'm going to refer to him. He is the French Joe Gomez. He can play anywhere across that back line, and that suits me absolutely fine. You need those squad players. But then, on top of that, PSV defender Jarek Gasioralski, not Polish, Spanish, unbelievably. Must have Polish heritage in there somewhere, but again, a left-footed centre-back. So he directly replaces Cordoba. Great heading, great tackling, anticipation, determination and work rate, perfect. And he's got the physicals to back it up. Not too sure about the haircut, might need a trim, but with a 4-star potential ability, and he's almost there at that. He's got 56 million pound value. Only downside was to get him in. Where's his contract? Unfortunately, I had to put a release clause in for 56 million. I kind of worry about that a little bit. I don't like having release clauses in when I'm getting this far into a save. The last couple of seasons, I don't want to be losing my star players. I really don't like that. But unfortunately, he was the best that I could sign, and I had to put that in to make sure that he did sign. So it's a risk I have to take, unfortunately. But then I brought in two other players, and the first one, I couldn't help but go for him. Rooney Bardghji, one of the OGs of the last couple of FMs, by far, didn't develop very well at Barcelona. He didn't play any games at all. And when he did play, he played really well, but he just didn't get into the team. His contract ran out and he was up for a free, and I thought, I'm not going to pass up this opportunity. Not a chance. And in the friendlies, he's done alright. 4 assists, 4 goals in 5 games. Can't complain at that. Does exactly what it says on the tin. Rooney Bardghji is an absolute star on this game, and always will be as far as I'm concerned, and that's why I brought him in. And then finally, I brought in Seni Mayulu, who, I think I've said that right, who is another central midfield player. Again, just to bulk out the squad, give me another option. He can play in the attacking midfield slot. He could probably even drop back into the DM slot. Potential ability is 4-star. He's already a 3-star, so he's not too far off what he needs to be. His strength is a little lacking in his positioning, but he's not going to be a starter. He is just basically there to fill the gaps if I get an injury or something. And saying that, if we have a look at the tactics side of things, as you can see, I'm keeping the tactics roughly the same. So in possession, still a 4-2-3-1, but this time I'm putting two players in, Bardghji and Wright. Wright, I wanted to get more game time because he does have the potential ability. He's 23, so he's still got some way to go and he can do it. Will he do it this season? I don't know. I've only got a couple of years left on his contract, so this is kind of like me throwing the dice, a little bit rolling the dice to see if it works or not. He's got great composure and vision, great passing and technique, so he's got all the building blocks to be a good central midfielder. Will he develop? I do not know. That's just something I'm willing to find out. But if I do a quick pick without restriction to have a look at the best 11, obviously Wright goes out, Schwartu goes onto the right because Bardghji drops out. Don't want that happening. Schwartu, I don't think has developed as much as I'd like. But the team as it stands, our best team, will be Keller, Fisher, Camvo, Gasiorowski and Chrisane. Beck Sorensen and Pablo Maya, Marzo in the centre, Ansa up front with Schwartu and Nontu on the wings side of things. Yeah, and Marvin Keller starts the season injured. He's going to be out for 5 weeks, so that is going to be quite glass getting a couple of games as well to start off the season. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all. And there we have it, guys. I'm ready to roll the highlights for season number 5. With the keeper being out injured, that really doesn't give me much hope, especially with our opening fixtures, but we just never know what is going to happen. Hopefully the new signing, should I say, hit the ground running and we get off to an absolutely amazing start. Let's go and roll the highlights and see what happens.
It's fair to say we overachieved last season, but we still had hope. That hope, though, was quickly extinguished after losing to Liverpool and Newcastle at the start of the season. Things didn't get any better in the Carabao Cup either, as Sunderland knocked us out in the 3rd round, and there ends another cup journey early. But as we moved on to autumn, we finally found our form, beating Leicester 2-1, Southampton 4-1, a 1-0 over Chelsea, and epically a 2-1 win over Man City. But the real story was our start to the Champions League campaign. Collège were beaten 4-1, Dutch giants Ajax fell to our sword 3-1, and even Italian stalwarts Roma also fell 1-0 to a defeat at Carrow Road. Sadly though, that form couldn't continue. As the cold winter set in, our form plummeted. We took some major beatings. 3-0 loss to Arsenal, Man United was 3-1, an obvious 4-0 whooping by Real Madrid in the Champions League, and even more annoyingly was a 5-0 defeat to Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup that ended our hopes of another bit of silverware for this season. We amazingly finished in the top 8 of the Champions League qualification and went on to face Marseille in the round of 16. A tough test for sure, but we handled it with true grit as we emerged winners 4-0 on aggregate. Sadly though, that our journey ended in the next round as the other French giants, PSG, came along and beat us 2-0 on aggregate to knock us out. This left us with a clear run at the European qualification again in the league, and we're beating Brentford 3-0, Fulham 3-0, a 4-0 win over Man United, and a final day of the season 1-0 win away from home at Aston Villa helped secure Europa League football for the 6th and final season.
Well, to say that season was unsuccessful, I think would be a little bit harsh. I think this season has actually been pretty decent, to say the least. And to start off with, we did pretty darn well in the league. We finished 6th, so we've qualified for Europa League football. So European football again, albeit not the Champions League. I'll come on to that in a second. But to compete in the Champions League this season and still finish 6th in the league when our squad is not the most experienced of squads, I'm going to take that. And the fact that we're I'd say comfortably there by a good, 5-6 points over Man United, and we actually finished ahead of Man City. What's all that about? I have no idea. But obviously in the other competitions as well, we got knocked out very early in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, so obviously I think that would have helped a little bit. But the Champions League, wow. Let's have a look at the league phase first. The league phase, I'm stunned at that we finished in the top 8. We won 6 and lost 2. to finish in the top 8 of the Champions League for the first time ever of being in that European competition. So we missed the playoff round entirely. Get to the round of 16 and we get French side Marseille and obviously get past them quite comfortably. But then I feel we kind of got screwed over a little bit. But once you start getting into the quarterfinals and that, you're going to face tough teams all over the place. And the fact that West Ham got there as well is a little bit odd. And only getting beaten 2-0 by PSG in the end, which I will take all day long. And if we have a look at the final, it was PSG and Real Madrid, so they ended up being the finalists. It's not been played yet. I don't know who's going to win that, but to be knocked out by the eventual finalists and Champions League stalwarts in PSG, getting to the quarterfinals, I am incredibly happy with that. Very, very happy with that. I think that's been a very successful season, especially if we have a look, because we're on the 27th of May. Let's have a look at the finances. Financially wise, that balance is lovely. And I'm still fuming about this debt thing. I can't believe they did that. We didn't need to do that at all. But we've been given our transfer budget already for next season. That's 36 million. I'm not happy with that at all. Although I probably could adjust it a little bit. I'm going to have to sell a few players. I am going to have to sell a few players. It's just the way it is. But if we have a look at the squad to see how our players did. So obviously Wright and Bardghji stayed in. Did Wright develop anymore? No, he didn't. I think he's going to be off this season.
You're fired. Get out of here.
Yeah, I think he's going to be off. He's not developing. And he is actually wanted by Al Nassr. Yeah, that's fine. Take him. He's not developed, so I'm fine with that. Bardghji is injured. He got injured on the 3rd of April. Tore his ACL. Gutted about that. That's going to be him out for the start of Season 6. But did he develop during the season? Yeah, he did. He developed a little bit. And he had a brilliant season. 14 goals and 9 assists. With over a 7 average rating. Rooney is a star. But if we have a look at the other goals, well, this is where we could have had a little bit of a problem. Here's me thinking I brought in some really, really good strikers that would get me a load of goals. It didn't happen. Schwartu got 14 and 8. Where he was playing, well, he was playing as the attacking midfielder, sometimes on the right, sometimes as a central one. He's a good player. In fact, actually, this season, his development has increased a little bit. He doesn't look too bad at all. But then on top of that, we also have Ansa, who I brought in to be like a star striker. 13 goals, not good enough. 13 goals from Mazza, that's not too bad. 10 goals from Sant'Angelo, only in 14 starts. He might be starting next season. 10 assists each from Nonto and Hussein on that left-hand side. So the left-hand side is working really, really well. On the right-hand side, though, not so much. Well, Kellen Fisher got 9 assists. Again, that's not too bad. Well, Kellen Fisher, who started off as one of our star fullbacks and had a 5-star potential ability, has just dropped right off into a 3-star mediocrity. So again, will I be looking at possibly bringing in another fullback to take his place for the final season? Maybe. I have got a few players in here who I could shift around and move to top up the transfer fund, and I think that is what I'm going to have to do. There we have it, guys. That's the end of Season 5. I'm going to go roll straight into Season 6 to show you guys the transfers, what's been happening, and yeah, all the other bits in between. I'll see you guys in a second. And just a quick one, guys. Thank you very much for watching these episodes. I've been breaking down into 3 separate parts. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And leave some comments down below. Get the interaction going. I want to know your thoughts and feelings on how these rebuilds are going. What you'd like to see me do, potentially. And yeah, just onwards and upwards. Let's get back to it. So, as you can see, we're at the Season 6 period. I haven't done any of the season fixtures yet. None of the fixtures have come out. Obviously, we have got Europa League football for this season. But transfers-wise, well, let's have a look. So, I've gone to the point where it's the save point, or not, before the save point. You guys know what I mean. And I did bring in some players. I did spend a little bit of money. Firstly, Claudio Echeverri. He was on a free transfer for a year. Nobody picked him up after Man City let him go. And I thought, you know what, as a player who could compete with Mazza and Schwartu as that attacking central midfielder, this guy is it. He has got the ability to do it, albeit very little strength and very little jumping reach. He's a very tricky little player. I think he could bring an extra bit of flair to the team, and by the looks of it, in the friendlies, he's done all right. His XG is pretty decent. He's got a goal and a couple of assists in those friendlies, so I'm quite happy with that. And for a free transfer, it's a bit of a no-brainer at the end of the day. Then on top of that, I brought in Yavain Zervak. He's an English 20-year-old striker who I think is going to basically just back up Sant'Angelo. 5-star potential ability. May not see too much of him this season, but again, I couldn't, for the price that we got him for, and he wanted to come in as a fringe player, for 17.5 million, I thought that was an absolute steal. And then I decided to change the left back. I wanted to get a little bit more out of that side, even though Hussein and Nonto did really, really well last season. Adrian Trufair was up on the transfer list, and I couldn't understand why. I thought I'm going to snap him up straight away, because with a first touch and crossing like that, and great tackling and great physicals to back it all up, what more could be said? For 16 million, I could not resist it. Obviously, before the takeover, there wasn't much going in and out either. In fact, only one player went out on loan. That was our signing from the previous season, Darren Hines. He's gone to Bristol City. And then after that is when it all changed. So, yeah, it annoyed me. That release clause that I talked about on the previous season, yeah, it came back to bite me. Liverpool came in with a £56 million bid, and Gassiorowski has gone. Then Pablo Maya has gone to Al Nassr for 25.5 million, 24 million for Bontempo. He wasn't getting the game time, so he's gone to Saudi as well. £24 million profit for a free transfer. It's not too bad at all. Fitzgarden has gone to Swansea for 23.5 million. Angulo, who barely played for us, he's gone to Al Shabab for 8.75. Seni Malulu only lasted the season. He's gone back to France for 5.5 million. 2.2 million for Jacob Wright. Wasn't exactly what I wanted, but he's out of the club. I wasn't going to keep him. So all in all, I managed to raise 146 million, which actually means in my transfer budget, I've still got 95 million left. And I know some of you are going to say, well, why didn't you spend it? Well, I didn't really want to. I couldn't, because of the players that I'd already brought in. And I really beefed out the central midfield, because I felt that's where our weakest spot was in the team. So firstly, I brought in on a free transfer from Monaco, Lamine Camara. Look at this guy. To be honest, I didn't know about this guy. I've not looked at him too much, but oh my god. The physicals, the mentals, and the technicals to back up that central midfield spot, absolutely brilliant. As a box-to-box playmaker or a defensive midfielder, it doesn't really matter. He has got it covered. And for a free transfer, and he's now valued up to 70 million, going to his prime, I couldn't resist it. But I needed a partner for him. And I've always liked this guy on this game. Chema Andres from Stuttgart, a Spanish midfielder, again, just super strong mentally in the central midfield, along with the physicals and the technicals. Again, valued up to 90 million for a free transfer. I could not believe it. That's why he's on such high wages. Both these guys are, because they're free transfers. I can afford the wages on them. And he's at his ability already. 25 years old. Great. Quite a long neck. Giraffe-like, I would say. And then on top of that, I spent 30 million on Martin Fernandez, who plays at right back. And I did say I wanted another fullback, but trying to find the right back to fit into the team wasn't easy. But this guy kind of stood out with his physicals and his mentals. Technicals could be a little bit better, but I think with these physicals and mentals, I'm going to get a little bit of a better player on that side. He's almost at 4-star potential ability, and again, I paid 30 million, but he's valued up to 53. Can't really fault that at all. So yes, I did spend a little bit of money, but more of it was on wages, and I got an absolute buttload of money left over. When we have a look at the financial side of things, 132.5 million in the bank. What? That is crazy. Utterly crazy. Plus a wage budget that is astronomical as well. It's incredible. And as I say, no fixtures have been played or anything like that, so we are ready and good to go. And speaking of which, as I say, we are ready and good to go to roll on for season 6 and the highlights. The 6th and final season. Can I finally win another trophy for Norwich, or will it just be mid-table mediocrity and we don't get anywhere? Let's go find out, shall we?
We wanted to get some silverware in our final season, and it certainly started better than season 5. A 3-1 win versus Spurs, a 2-1 win versus Brentford, and back-to-back 2-0 wins versus Wolves meant we had a great start to the league campaign and also progressed in the next round of the Carabao Cup. In the Europa League, we started well again, a 2-0 win versus Rennes, 5-1 versus Molde, and an even more surprising 2-1 away win at Sevilla put us in a great position early on. Autumn turned to winter as we squeezed past Chelsea in the Carabao after a penalties win. We also took a couple of losses, namely to Liverpool 1-0 and a 4-0 humping by Arsenal, but our form during Christmas and New Year was impressive. a 4-1 win versus Southampton, a 2-0 versus Forest, another 2-0 versus Villa, and another 2-0 versus Wolves again kept us high in the league. In the Cups, we dispatched Mansfield 4-1 in the Carabao quarters, and in the FA Cup, we whooped Leeds 4-0. Even in Europe, our form didn't falter as we beat Besiktas 2-1 and Stuttgart 1-0 as we finished the league phase top of the table. During February and March, as we beat Man City 4-3 on aggregate in the Carabao Cup semi-finals, we reached the final to face Liverpool. But in Europe, we faced Besiktas again and beat them 5-1 on aggregate to reach the Europa League quarter-finals. We didn't have it all our own way though, as we were knocked out the FA Cup by Hull City 1-0, and a couple of silly losses in the league to Leicester and Brentford meant we did slip down the table. As we moved to the end of March and the business end of the season, we had the Carabao Cup final versus Liverpool, and in a shock result, we totally whooped them 3-0 in the final to lift a piece of silverware finally. In Europe, we moved past Sevilla 4-2 to face Young Boys in the semis, and inexplicably, we fluffed our lines as they beat us 2-1 on aggregate to miss out on the final. Our league form was mixed due to these cup runs. The 2-1 loss to Burnley and a 3-1 loss to Man City did cost us, despite beating Palace 2-1, and a last day of the season 5-1 battering of Brighton meant we did secure European football again for the next season.
Okay, so before we get on to the actual results of the season, there's one thing I did forget to show you guys, and that is the new tactic that went in for this season. I did change it around to accommodate some of the new players, and the tactic that I did bring in was a 4-2-2 with the combined look of looking like this, and I put Sant'Angelo in as the DLF and also Truefair to make sure that he played left back. I wanted to get the most out of both those players, and it worked for this season. It did work. So if we have a look at the league first, no, that is the FA Cup. I don't want to look at that, thank you very much. If we have a look at the league wasn't too bad. If we carried on, and depending on where we are, I don't think the European Cup final's been played yet, so that is still to be divvied out. I think it's either going to be Europa League football or Conference League football if I was going to carry this on, which I'm absolutely fine with. In fact, losing 2 games towards the end of the season cost us the Champions League spot. That's a little bit disappointing. But obviously, on top of that, we did have the FA Cup, which I'll go and have a look at now. And we didn't make it very far in that, to be fair. So if we go and have a look at the 3rd round, there we are, beating Leeds. Then we go to the 4th round, and there we are, beating West Brom. Then we go to, that's the quarterfinals. And then we go to the 5th round, and we got knocked out by Hull. Go figure. I have no idea how that works. But at least we got our hands on some silverware. Yes! Norwich City are your Carabao Cup winners after beating Liverpool of all teams. I couldn't believe that. I really couldn't believe that. That is deserved. After 6 seasons of hard work, we finally managed to get some silverware. Yes, I know it's only the Carabao Cup, but I will take it. I will take it. All things considered. And to be fair, actually, I am really, really gutted we didn't make it to the Europa League final because Young Boys knocked us out in the semi-finals. And we would have gone on to face Man City, which actually, if we go and have a look at the league again, and look where Man City finished, they only finished 3rd, only 7 points ahead of us. So I think we would have stood a really good chance if we got past Young Boys. But the fact that Young Boys knocked us out, that really irks me. That really does irk me. But if we have a look at the squad and see how they did, let's have a look at the goals. Well, that's a little bit better to say the least. Sant'Angelo, 25 goals and 6 assists. His development is incredible. Oh, that is amazing. Look at the physicals on it and the mentals to go along with it. Absolutely incredible. He just needs to improve his first touch and he'd be absolutely and utterly phenomenal. Not even been picked for England yet though. That does surprise me a little bit. Still got that 5-star potential ability. Answer, even though only 19 starts, he got 17 goals this season, so that's a little bit better. I'm happy with that. Schwarzer got 15 and 6. Ibrahim Marza, he got 10 and 9, which is excellent. 10 and 11 from Nonto. Nonto has been an excellent buy for $4.5 million. For what he has produced for us, he's been excellent, I have to say. 7 and 8 from Echeverry, even though he played 36 starts, 18 off the bench. That's really good. Zervac, he actually got a couple of goals, 6 and 6 actually, so that's not too bad at all. 13 assists from Truefair. That worked nicely. And if we scroll down, a couple of other players, Fisher and Chrisane, they didn't get as many starts, but still produced some of the goods. And yeah, no, that's not too bad at all. In fact, I can't fault it. I really cannot fault it at all. I'm so happy with the end of this. I was really, really dreading that we weren't going to get a trophy. But if we also have a look at the club side of things, let's have a look at the facilities. The facilities are in superb condition, and the only thing that lets it down is the youth recruitment and the academy coaching. If I was carrying it on, it's probably something I would look at a little bit more. Financially, well, we did have, I think it was on season 5, about 130 odd million, if I remember rightly. Well, let's have a look at it now. See where we're at. Still over the 100 million mark, nearly 110 million. Only 27 million left of that debt. Not too bad at all. And rolling into season 7, if I wanted to carry on, I did have 65 million to spend. Plus, I'd be selling a couple of players, so I could probably raise about another 30 odd million to have nearly 100 million if I wanted to. I'm very, very happy with that. And there we have it, guys. That is the end of season 6 and the end of the rebuild for Norwich City. The plan has succeeded and the tasks have been met. I wanted to get Norwich out of the Championship and stop them from yo-yoing between that and the Premier League. Yes, it was tough for the first couple of seasons. We almost didn't make it, but then we progressed. And we've finally managed to be European consistent and also win another trophy on top of that. And for that, I think that deserves a like on the video. You subscribe to the channel to follow us for the next one, because the next one that's coming up is Fiorentina. And you ain't going to want to miss that one, I can tell you that right now. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later. Ta-ra.